What's up, YouTube? It's JackalGoldKick, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about how I deal with porn addiction cravings. So, I think this video will be very useful for everyone out there struggling with porn addiction because either they can apply this to themselves or find something they could turn to for cravings. Because, in my opinion, one of the most important aspects of getting away from porn addiction and getting it out of your life is you got to have a good plan to deal with the cravings because when you're not craving porn addiction, it's easy to stay away from it. It really is, especially if you go through a flat line. But when you're craving, that's when it's really hard to stay away from it. That's when it's very challenging. That's what makes addictions a pain in the ass to deal with. Because when you're not addicted to something, you can just give it up easily and have no withdrawals or anything. Whereas porn addiction and addiction in general is different. So, how I deal with porn addiction cravings. Now, this is something I implemented around late 2022, and I feel like I started making some real good strides in my porn addiction recovery. And while I have some setbacks from there all the way to then, I've had more time off my addiction than on it compared to previous years. And I've implemented this strategy even more so, and it's worked really well for me. So, how I deal with my porn addiction cravings is what I do: I leave the house and go for a walk. That's it. That's what I do. That's how I deal with the cravings. So basically, whenever I have cravings and the urges and desires to view pornography and masturbate and all that stuff, I will leave the house and I will go for a walk. It doesn't matter to me what time it is. It doesn't matter to me if I've only had 1 hour of sleep. If I'm craving an addiction, it's time to leave the house. Even with the current foot injury I have, and I'm not able to walk as much as I used to, but that's what I do. And it works. It's worked every time. It's like the best thing ever. So something that I do want to mention about this strategy of leaving the house and going for a walk for porn addiction cravings is you want to make sure that if the cravings, you see, the thing about cravings is what I've noticed when I tried to figure out how long they last and stay around. Sometimes they'll stay around for 4 hours, but it's really hard to gauge an accurate approval of like how long cravings last. So something else I want to say in this video is that when you leave the house and go for a walk, if you decide to implement this strategy in dealing with your porn addiction, is you want to stay outside the house going for a walk. You want to do that as long as possible. Because I do remember times in the past where I did leave the house and go for a walk. Usually, how long I would go for a walk for would be I would go for an hour walk. That's what I would do. But something I did notice in the past is that sometimes it would be me leaving the house to go for a walk for like an hour, and I came back and the cravings were still there. So something that I want to put in here is that sometimes you're going to have to leave the house for a walk and stay away from your house for long periods of time, sometimes longer than an hour. It needs however long it needs to be for you to be outside of your house going for a walk, or if there's somewhere you can set if you want to take a break from walking, just make sure that you also remember that there might be some times where you have to be gone longer from the house for longer periods of time. Because there were times where I had to be gone for the house going for a walk for more than just an hour. So that's something else to consider with this strategy that I wanted to say as well and include in this video because I forgot to mention this and I realized it was important to include this when I was putting this video together. And my advice to all porn addicts out there is to try that as well. Or maybe there's something else you can do. I don't know if I can exactly say this is a one size fits all thing, but it works for me really well. It really does. I've heard meditation works from some other people, but for me, leaving the house and going for a walk has been the most useful technique and tool to deal with the cravings of porn addiction. And it's been so useful. And I highly recommend it to all other people out there that are struggling with porn addiction that keep falling back into the cravings because for me, I think the reason it works so well is because I have these cravings and I leave the house, so I'm outside, I'm around cars and people and I'm walking. It allows, when you go for a walk, at least for me, it allows my mind to kind of set outside and, get clear. Usually when you go for a walk, it clears your head type thing. That's what it does for me. Now, something I do every time I do go for a walk and deal with the porn addiction cravings is I'll listen to music. I used to listen to videos and I would download videos on YouTube and listen to those while I did that. But that got old, so I just started listening to music and it works really well. And if you're going to implement this, you got to be serious about it. You got to always use it because that's what I've always done. And I've went to the extremes of moments where it was hard to do. Like basically what I mean is like, I remember one time I only got like 1 hour of sleep, and I woke up from 1 hour of sleep, and instead of going back to sleep, I started craving the addiction. And for me, when I'm craving that addiction, I can't go back to sleep. It's not possible. So I literally had to leave the house and go for a walk, running on 1 hour of sleep. But you know what? It was worth it because I didn't fall into the addiction. There was also moments where it was literally like 1 o'clock in the morning at night, or 2 o'clock, or 3 a.m., and I had to leave the house at that time. And they say it's a little bit more dangerous at night, a little more risky to go out there by yourself. But I'd rather deal with that. I'd rather put up with that than go back to the addiction. Um, so this is what's helped me deal with the porn addiction cravings. And I hope this is something a lot of other people can get help from. And hopefully this is something they can use. Now, there's other things you should have in your recovery as well, like, you know, some kind of career or goal or dream or whatever passion you have that you could focus on in life that will be kind of a replacement. Like for me, YouTube, being a YouTuber, that's like, I guess, technically the replacement addiction, but I also like to play video games. I also like to listen to music. So you also have to have other things you can do in life, hobbies, passion, if you have friends to hang out with, that can help. But this video is just specifically on how to deal with cravings. And let me say this, don't use willpower because it doesn't work. Can't tell you how many times where I've had cravings in the past for porn. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can fight past this. I'm gonna see if I let it slide. Never works. Never works because you eventually always give in. Happened to me so many times. You need something to do, and this is what I do. So that's it for this video. Hope it helped, and peace out. And in terms of my recovery, I'm been doing pretty well. Had a lot of time off of it, and I hope to continue that. My goal is not a year or 2 years or what they say 90 days. My goal is to have this out of my life forever. That's my goal. But that's it for this video. Peace out. So I'm going to add this at the end of this video because I want to elaborate further real quick on what I was talking about with needing something you can turn to when you get porn addiction cravings and having something that you could use to deal with those. So, like I said, for me, it was the walking thing. Now, that's something everyone else can try. Or there's other things you can try to do if that doesn't work for you. Listening to music, playing a video game, watching movies, watching TV shows, being around people, you know, being involved in some kind of passion or career of yours, whether that's writing books or making YouTube videos. Another thing that you could try doing is if you really can get to a point where you don't care about what you're doing on camera, you could live stream yourself doing stuff. That's something I implement a lot and still do, where I will live stream myself if I'm isolated. I could be sitting here watching videos, listening to music, playing games. I will live stream myself so I can somewhat, be knowing that there's still people technically watching me. So that's something else I recommend, but I know maybe not, you know, but that's something else I recommend. But those are just some extra things I wanted to put in this video, but that is it for this video. Peace out.